webinar. Today, very basic stuff, how RFID benefits fashion retail. My name is Uwe Hennig. I'm the CEO of Detego. I'm very happy that we have so many people sign in for this webinar. What we plan for today is that this webinar will be recorded, the first thing, so you don't have to catch screens or whatever. So it will be published on our website very soon. At the end of this webinar, we have enough time for answering questions, and I would like to ask you, because we have so many people on the line, to use the chat functionality of WebEx, so you can post questions also during the webinar. We will read through it and we will answering these questions. But again, the webinar will be recorded. At the end of the day, we will also phone numbers, email addresses. If there are more questions, you can ask them. So what we planned for today is, the first thing is RFID in fashion. Why in fashion and why now? So this is a little bit background information. What is going on in the fashion industry, in fashion retail? Why are fashion retailers now looking so heavily into implementing RFID? So a little bit background on the market. Then we will spend most of the time on what we call live cases. So this is examples that you all know, from retail stores, how RFID can benefit supply chain, can benefit the in-store applications, can benefit the retailer, at the end of the day as a consumer. So we're coming to some real examples. Just a little bit information about our offering. So this webinar is for partners, but we put it live on the website later on so everybody can see it. So this is a little bit about the Detego products. For the partners, we also have something in how to start such a project, how to team with us, and as said, at the end we will finish hopefully with a lot of questions. So let's start and look a little bit into fashion retail and what are the challenges when you are a fashion retailer. So the first thing is very much it's around the material, it's around the collections and marketing campaigns. I mean, we are all shoppers, and we all know this from the past. In the past, you got a summer sale, you got a winter sale, you may got 2 collections, and that's it. But look in today's fashion retail industry, you find much more marketing campaigns. I mean, in some of the fashion segments, like fast fashion, some of these companies running 12, 15 campaigns per year. They're running 4, 6, 7, 8 collections per year. The impact is, from marketing-wise, this is maybe easy, but it just drives much more material through the whole supply chain, material that need to be managed, because material is arriving in warehouses, in distribution centers. The material need to be picked and packed, need to be shipped to stores, need to be unpacked over there, need to be managed. So all these, the new trend coming from the internet and from fast fashion, that there are much more campaigns and much more collections than in the past, drives much more material. And the last 2-3 years, you see that retailers now look much more into their supply chain and their operations than they have done in the past, because now the supply chain is a critical asset of their whole winning strategy. So you better manage it. And another challenge is that there is much more competition than in the past. And this is not only because the internet arrived and mobile devices. It's much more competitors. It's what we all as consumers doing. You can sit in the evening on your couch with your tablet PC. You have the so-called endless aisle. You can shop everywhere. You can select a t-shirt in Japan. You can buy some shoes in North America, and then you order something what you want to pick up on next morning in your store around the corner. So the competition for a fashion retailer at the high street is no longer just the nearest neighborhood. The competition is everywhere. And on top of this, some of the clever competitors offering suddenly new services. So for example, in some of the big cities, if you go to London, you go to Paris, you go to Munich, you find the first fashion retailers offering same-day delivery. So you order something online, let's say till noon, and you can have it delivered to your office, to your house, till 8 in the evening. So increasing competition is coming, and competitors bringing complete new services, what consumers loves. Services in fitting rooms, services with delivery, services around the garment, services with informations, availability. So, and all these new challenges driving the need for accurate data across all those channels. And you need to have this data in real time. How good is an information to your customer when you say, yeah, we will have this t-shirt because last evening we saw it in the database, it's still there. I mean, this data is old. Is it still reliable? Do you want to promise a commitment on that? I wouldn't do that. So, and now one of the biggest challenges coming, I mean, retailers the last years, maybe the last decade, were quite weak in adopting new technology. I mean, you know that. You see that when you walk into retail stores, when you see their warehouses. There's a lot of old stuff and there's a lot of IT silos. And the infrastructure, all these infrastructure like POS systems, like ERP systems, supply chain management system, warehouse systems, they were built mainly for reporting purpose. And they were never built that they're all working together and put the consumer into the middle. So real-time data, and many of the retailers say, yeah, but we have SAP, we have real-time. How real is this real-time? How often is an update from the POS to the ERP? Is it SKU-based, or is it article number-based, or is it item-level-based? And if fashion retailers want to move to omni-channel, and we come to that later, omni-channel is the driver in the industry, you need to have reliable data, you need to have real-time data, and you need to have data on an item level. And the IT infrastructure in many of the retailers is not based on that. And now the next big challenge is coming in, and that's us. We are the consumers, we are the customers. So, and the customer is now spoiled with all these services you're getting over the internet. I mean, you can shop online, you can check availability in a dedicated store, you can reserve stuff, and you can have a chat function over the internet, you can speak with people, it's fantastic. And you're just sitting on your couch in the evening. But when you're coming to the store, sometimes you're feeling like you're back in the Stone Age. The first time the retailer is meeting you is at the checkout. So there's a huge change now, and there's a huge need for all these things like real-time, item-level visibility, and engage with the shoppers. And we see, as a company implementing these solutions, that the winners, the real winners in retail, are the companies who are engaged with the clients, who understand their supply chain, who know where items are, who can manage the data all in real time, and this is driving success. And let's look on some examples we all know. This typical answer you may have heard yourself in a store: I'm very sorry, we don't know if this item is available in another store. I mean, how good is that information? When I'm sitting on the couch in the internet, I can see that. Or this thing, oh madam, I'm really sorry, but we can't return this pullover you purchased online. Please take it home and send it back yourself. How bad is that? Sorry, we can't reserve an item for you in this store online. It doesn't work. I need to check if I can find what you're looking for, and you know these things. And then these people are disappearing. In the past, you were waiting in a store 10 minutes. If the store staff is coming back and telling you if they have the item, yes or no. 10 minutes is quite long. In these days of internet, 10 minutes is too long. So, and then the question, I'm back tomorrow. Maybe you have it tomorrow? The people are blind. They say to you, I don't know if it's available tomorrow. Please come by and check yourself. I mean, this is services we as consumers do not want to hear. So again, why fashion and why now? It's much more materials need to be managed. Omni-channel is the driver, so people want to check online availability of an item in a dedicated store, in a dedicated size, in a dedicated color, in real time, and they want to reserve it now, and that you can't use old data. And you as a fashion retailer, you want to engage with your shopper because you have to. If you can't engage with them, they will stop visiting your store. So look on some market data. Let's see, and on the bottom on this page you see that we use some external consultants here. The first thing is quite interesting for fashion retail. We all see the internet and e-commerce, but do you know that 80% of fashion retail is still happening in a physical store? So 20% is e-commerce, and that's already a huge number. But customers love to come to stores because they can put items on, they can receive a good service, they can combine things, they want to touch the garment. So 80% is still happening in a physical store. interesting wise, when you see the IT budgets the last years, it was all in e-commerce. So the investments in stores happenings now in this decade. And more than half of the consumers, 60% of consumers stating they have a better shopping experience when the store staff can check real-time availability. And you know that 2/3 of customers coming back, even when an item is not available, but the fashion retailer can say, I know where it is in my supply chain and I can make it available next day or the day after or whatever. So this is not a lost sale. But if you don't know where your stuff is, this is a lost sale. And a little bit more than 30% of inventory discrepancy. That means in fashion retail, the accuracy of data in systems is, the average in this industry is 72%. So that means from 28% of the data in the system, you don't know if this is really correct and you can use as data. That is equalizing lost sales. 100%, and this is a statement from us, of these systems were really built for reporting and not for putting omni-channel and on this consumer engagement in place. So that's for sure. So that's some market data. So very easy. What's happening now is real-time is essential that fashion retailers in this challenging and competitive environment surviving and becoming the winners. And this is what we're talking about. So let's look how this is working, and let's take some real examples. At first, you see here the supply chain of fashion retail is quite complex. Most of fashion retailers and manufacturers, what you see on the left of this page, is done in Asia, and single items are put into cases, that is put in pallets, transported, boats, ships, whatever, and then a distribution center or maybe several warehouses are involved. At the end of the day, it's a quite challenging supply chain, and it starts with the suppliers. So how good is the delivery or the shipping accuracy of the supplier? I mean, let's be honest. If you order, let's say, 5,000 polo shirts at a factory in China, and these 5,000 polo shirts are manufactured, and the manufacturer is stating, yes, all manufactured, all delivered, do you think somebody can count 5,000 polo shirts? You can't. So you trust that the data is correct. And you can't measure your supplier in terms of how good is he really, how reliable is he on shipping accuracy, and is it worth to spend the money with him? But that's on the beginning of the chain. If you look into the warehouse, you have more challenges. It's the goods receiving. You may take these 5,000 polo shirts, you may open 1-2 boxes to check the accuracy of the package. You have the picking and the packing processes, outbound, all is manual, a lot of paperwork is involved. Maybe third-party logistic company, the big giants like a DHL is involved, you need to manage them. And you have, remember, one of the challenges, you have much more material coming now to your chain. So you need to manage this. Efficiency is key in these chains. And you have these different transports from the distribution center to the store. You have store-to-store transfer. And you have returns from the store to the DC. And adding much more material, much more marketing campaign, this gets quite challenging. If you go into the store, it's increasing even more. First thing is, and we see now later a live example on incoming goods, how challenging that can be. Relocation in the store, that means most of these retailers running a back room, and from the back room they replenish to the front room. And this relocation back room, front room can drive some issues. Cycle count, stock take, inventory check, is it available? And I mean, if you go into a typical fashion retailer store, this can be from starting with 5,000 items if you go to a large wholesaler with 200,000 items. So cycle count, knowing what is available where, is quite challenging. And then these new applications from omnichannel like click and reserve, click and collect coming in. Checkout can be challenging on a Saturday afternoon if your average basket size is, let's say, 12, 15 items in fast fashion, and people are queuing, but people are tired of queuing. Time for the customer is getting a nightmare because all this administration, paperwork, item looking, go to back rooms, store staff is disappearing, no analytics, what is really going on into the store. So this is the daily life of a fashion retailer. Let's take a real example. Let's look on what is sounding very easy, a goods receipt in a store. And a goods receipt is happening in most of fashion retailers 5 times per week from Monday to Friday. There are some stores that have 6 times, so including a Saturday. We work on some fashion retailers have a goods receipt 12 times per week. That means twice per day from Monday to Saturday. And a goods receipt, classical way, is done with paper, and they're using the POS system, the point of sale system, because this is the, let's say, small in-store ERP, and they're using this system to confirm the goods received. So very easy. So arriving in the morning, the UPS guy with 10 cartons with lots of items in, all the paper, you open maybe 2 boxes, check, is it really okay? Then the store staff is going to the goods received function to the POS, opening the goods received and say, okay, I've received this and this and this and this and this. And then he's opening the boxes, he's putting maybe somewhere, but in the meantime, consumers asking, can you help me here and here and here? Our statistics showing that goods received can take everything from 45 to 90 minutes. Typically, you want to do this before the store is opening. You do not want to do this when the customer's already in the store. Depending where you're located, depending the delivery window, you do it during the opening. If not, you need to pay overtime for your store staff because they're coming earlier before the store is opening. And very often, let's be honest, boxes coming in, people are busy, they just signed with the UPS guy, and then they put the boxes somewhere under a table because in the same moment in time they're busy with another thing. And then maybe the newest collection or the latest marketing campaign is not on the shelf, is sitting in a box in the back room under the coffee table. And you may laugh, but this is reality. Work with RFID. All these garments, each t-shirt, each belt, everything has an RFID tag. The person that's the goods received is using a classic RFID handheld, and the goods received, and we have done these things, is taking 5 minutes. And compare 5 minutes to 90 minutes, and we are booking the information direct into the system. Nobody goes to another screen and is opening an application. It's booked in 5 minutes, and the beauty is we can use the store stuff now for other stuff, but the beauty is also if there's any, let's call it urgent item, like the new marketing campaign stuff is in one of these boxes, we can alert the store person and say, well, this box you need to open because it needs to be moved direct to the shelf. This is an important item. And these are the benefits in a very basic application, goods received. Let's look in another application, stock take, cycle count. And cycle count, everybody's doing. From a legal point of view, depending which country you're sitting, you have to do a cycle count. So typical cycle count you do either per department, like let's say twice per year you do the men's departments, menswear in February and in September, you do the women wear then and then, but cycle count is terrible work. People printing lists maybe from the POS system, they're running through the store and counting items, they don't find items. At the end of the day, they're coming back to the store manager or to a responsible person with a huge list and say these and these and these and these items we can't find anymore. So obviously it's this shrinkage. We need to book them out. Booking out, I mean, this is terrible because you're losing money. And you don't really know, is this item really lost? Or is it maybe under a shelf? Was it really in the store? Maybe the ERP system said, yes, we shipped it to the store. Has it ever arrived? Maybe it was gone with a transport guy. Maybe it's still in the back room under the coffee machine. I mean, all these things happening. The data in the system is old, is incorrect, is not reliable. But guess you're running a cycle count for the whole store twice per year. And then a customer is coming in and you want to run an omni-channel application like a click and reserve. You want to say, yeah, this item is in the store. My system is telling us, yes, I can reserve it for this client. But how good is this commitment when the data you are using is 2 weeks old, 2 months old? It doesn't work. This is why you see omni-channel is only adopted in the industry 10%, because all these retailers have this big problem of inventory accuracy. Using RFID, our customers using our system doing a cycle count once per week. And this is a massive increase of inventory accuracy if you do it once per year or once per week. So every Monday morning where one of our customers is doing a stock take in the whole store, and we are analyzing and then we're showing him we are missing this item, this item, this item. We may miss 3, 4 items. Typically with a cycle count paper-based, you're missing 50, 80, 100 items. We are moving with our software in real time inventory accuracy, and this is proved by customers, to a level of 99.x%. So this is data that you can then use for omnichannel. And the backend system now can operate with reliable data. So future applications like omnichannel, click and collect are based on this. But retailers have to start with the basic work, like get the inventory right. You start with RFID, with stock take and cycle count, and then you can do the next thing like click and collect. Let's look into what we got a little bit in the beginning, this in-store replenishment. So in-store replenishment means you have a lot of material in the back room and you have your front room. And fashion retailers measuring how much material is in the front room, because a retail store is maybe planned, let's say, for a capacity of 5,000 items, just to pick an example. So with 5,000 items, merchandise planners have figured out 5,000 items, the store looks really good. It's not overloaded with stuff, it doesn't look empty, so 5,000 items for them is a KPI. But how can you measure this? Is it 4,900? Is it 5,200? Because you still have stuff in the back room. How often do you replenish an item? So what fashion retailers doing is sold items. So one t-shirt is going through the checkout, is leaving the store. At the end of the day, with what they call daily closing, they're printing a list from the point of sale system, and the next morning somebody is replenishing is the exactly same item. So okay, this white t-shirt size S, this belt, this trousers, this pairs of shoes was sold, so they're going to the back room and put it back on the shelf, just for the purpose that the next customer is coming in, looking exactly for that item, finding that item, that size, that color. But how bad is that if an item is sold, let's say, at 10 in the morning, but you replenish it the next morning at 9, that means, and it's still enough in the back room. That means that from 10 in the morning till 9 o'clock next morning, this item is not available for a consumer is entering the store exactly looking for it. And you don't know it because you only print your report from the POS system in the evening. So, and this is a lost sale, and that happens every day, thousands of times. So with RFID, when an item is sold, and we can measure even, is this an item from the latest marketing campaign? So please replenish this in 10 minutes because the next consumer is coming in immediately. Is this an item from a dedicated collection? But we know in real time what item is sold. And again, here's where RFID is coming in. This is on item level. It's not on article or SKU level. So this is really based, this item in that color, in that style, in that size is just sold. It belongs to the latest marketing campaign. So you better put it direct from the back room to the front room. When the next consumer is coming in, he can really find it. So this and the sold items triggering the picking per store in the warehouse, at the end of the day, you are uplifting sales. Because what you're improving here is called OSA, on-shelf availability. Very easy. That there are around 25 use cases for RFID in-store and in the whole supply chain. We are just putting on front of you 4. The last one is in-store analytics. If there is any need from the partners or from your customers on understanding more applications where RFID can spend a big benefit, just email us afterwards. We are very happy to share this information, the percentage of improvement and. Let's look in one very important thing. At the moment we have looked on process efficiency. We were looking on applications and how can an existing application benefit from RFID. So you're improving something that is already existing. Now we're speaking on something that doesn't exist. And you may be surprised, but in retail in general and in fashion especially, you find a lot of IT silos. You may remember in the beginning of this webinar, I explained that the last decade, and this is really 12, 15 years now, retailers were using their time for a lot of things, but adopting technology, many of them are quite behind. There are lots of innovative companies, no question, no doubts, but speak to your customers, check the situation, you find a lot of very old legacy systems. And nothing against these systems, they're running and they're running forever. and they may be based on really good technology, but the problem is all these systems are sitting in silos. ERP systems were implemented for financial transactions. So items were purchased, invoices were coming in from suppliers, monthly closing from stores coming in, revenue numbers, and. So it's financial controlling and reporting to the CEO. POS systems were, in the beginning, were introduced surely for payment, but the POS was more than payment. POS is more the, let's say, in-store ERP. They're doing the goods received of items in the POS. They're doing the return handling in the POS. They're putting the data in on, yeah, we discount this campaign now 20% more. And the POS is doing a daily report. What was the sale this day? A weekly report, a monthly report. It's connected to the ERP, and by batch, file download, whatever, it's put data from the POS to the ERP. Also now in many companies, POS is now integrated into the ERP. But again, we talk about IT silos. What happened 7-8 years ago, the internet arrived, and all these fashion retailers said, wow, the internet is there, e-commerce, we need a web shop, we need a web shop, we need a web shop. So these IT projects, they were implemented everywhere, but to get it up and running quick, what have you done? You implemented another silo. So the e-commerce from the outside is fantastic, but is that connected to the store? Is that connected to the supply chain? Is that connected to the ERP? Is the franchisor store connected to the e-commerce? And all these things, all these silos you're having is driving one big issue. You're having different data. Which data can you really rely on? And so the analytics of a fashion retailer are mainly driven by their e-commerce, because with e-commerce, with tracking a consumer's behavior on the website with cookies, is very easy to understand what is going on in the e-commerce, and it's in real time because it's sitting in the internet. So you can see exactly, wow, this customer always looking on item in this size, and obviously he loves our new collection, he loves the blue polo. Why don't we push him a message in his email, in his inbox, that next week this polo shirt gets 10% off. All these things you can do quite easy in the e-commerce. Remember the beginning of this presentation, e-commerce is just representing 20% of the sale. 80% is still happening in the store. So why not look into real-time data in the store? And that is what we are providing here using RFID, and we're using also other sensor technologies in the store to understand in real time what is really going on. And this is more like how many items do I have on the shelf? I mean, just think about one application. Marketing is driving a campaign, and you run a supply chain with 100 stores connected, and your opening in the stores is Monday morning 10 o'clock. The whole weekend there was a marketing campaign, so consumers want to enter the store on Monday morning 10 o'clock. Your logistic people have done a great job. They shipped all boxes to all 100 stores. How do you ensure when the store is opening at 10 o'clock that all these things from the marketing campaign are really on shelf? We have visited many customers, and you won't believe it, but many fashion retailers calling each single store and asking the store manager half an hour before opening, have you got the latest campaign on the shelf? Yes, done, next one. Yes, done, next one. With RFID, remember the goods received, the automation here, you know exactly, yes, from the 100 stores, these 88, everything is on shelf, perfect. In these 12 stores, I have an issue, so I need to call these guys. So this is what we mean in real-time data analytics. And then you can measure the POS reporting at the evening, a huge printout, what item has been sold. But here we are measuring in real time what are top sellers in one store, and compare one store with another store, and you identify quite fast what are top sellers in one store, what are maybe slow movers in that store, but these slow movers are maybe really good sellers in another store. So before you discount them with an 80% discount sticker, because the next marketing campaign is coming in anyway, so before you discount them, why didn't you move them to another store where they're quite good sold? And all these things, all these real-time analytics, at the end of the day, is driving an immediate action for the retailer. So the store manager is getting direct action feedback, like replenish this item. We are recommending you put these and these items to a box and ship it to the store in Cologne because there are good sellers here, there are bad sellers here. using other technologies like handheld readers, we are now analyzing even, sorry you can't see this on this small screen, but here in the middle you see something what we call fitting room conversion rate. So we're using fixed RFID reader in the ceiling of each store, so we can exactly measure what items go into the fitting room. And an interesting measurement that doesn't exist now in store is what items going jointly into fitting rooms. So things the retailer knows from his e-commerce long time, like customers always buying this shirt, combining this always with this belt. So this is an information we are now bringing into the store. We're switching on the light in the store because we are identifying the behavior of a customer, the movement of merchandise before the customer is at the checkout. And we can give this information to the store staff. Remember, the store staff is no longer occupied with a lot of administrative work. They can now do the things you hired them for. They can sell. So in-store analytics is now driving, at the end of the day, an uplift in sales. Okay, so again, that was 4 use cases. Now maybe people will say, wow, that sounds very complex. How can we do this? And I know this is a part of our partner base from different countries, and I've spoken to all of you, and I know you're getting questions from your clients, and let's be honest, very often heard first feedback. Yeah, we know RFID, well, that was in the beginning of 2000, we've heard it doesn't work. Yeah, we've heard about it, but it's very expensive. This looks very complex, and there are lots of obstacles against RFID, and I can tell you why this happens. Because to RFID happened what happens to every technology. It's coming to the industry, it's coming to the market, it is overhyped. This is classical for technology. So expectations are huge. Then the technology can't deliver the results, and people think, wow, they promised this, it doesn't work, and then it disappears from the radar. And this happens to RFID heavily, especially in retail. I mean, RFID, if you look to other industries like automotive, is used in the supply chain since years, perfectly, no problem. But in retail, it was popped up beginning of the 2000s, then it doesn't deliver the results, and there were a lot of technology issues like how does it work with metal, how does it work with liquids, what's about the performance of the readers. Yeah, the tag price are too high to put it on a t-shirt that only costs €2.50. The performance is not really there, and so it disappeared from the radar. We learned, and I know many of you now in this webinar knows it as well, the technology improved dramatically. I mean, we have read rate now, and we all know this from the technology providers, from the hardware manufacturers. Read rates in retail with RFID is 99 point whatever percent. It's nearly close 100%. We all know, we are all experts on the technology. You never can say 100%, but it's extremely close to it. On the other hand, if you see this question on it's expensive, just to give you an idea, the latest report on the RFID tech purchase in 2015 in fashion retail was 6 billion items. So 6 billion RFID tags have been purchased last year just for fashion retail. That means that probably 5.5, 5.6 billion garments somewhere outside here are already tagged with RFID. So what I want to say is, with the adoption of the technology, in this volume, the prices for these tags went dramatically down. If you compare 2012 to 2014, 2014 now to 2016, and I know, and I see it in the chat already, one of the questions is, how much is the price of a tag? And we all know you can't say this in general, because it's a difference if you buy 100,000 tags, 1 million tags, 10 million, or, I mean, there are giants in the market. If you take Marks and Spencer in the UK, they're purchasing every year already 480 million RFID tags every year. So the pricing depends really on the volume. That's classical. To give you an idea, if it's huge volume, we talk around far below 10 euro cent. If it's a little bit less volume, it's still around 8 to 10 euro cent. Don't ever contract me on these prices, but just to give you an idea, because I know your customers are asking the same question. Is the technology complex? Not anymore. I mean, there are standards in the market from GS1 for a long time, but now the technologies, I mean, there are APIs. It's not plug and play. You always have some work, and you see later on how such a project would be implemented. But the technology is absolutely less complex if you go back 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. At the end of the day, to summarize this slide, you're hearing these feedback and you will hear these questions from IT people, from purchase people, from supply chain people. The only advice I can give to you is run a trial. You only can convince a customer if you really convince him to test it in one store. And at the end of the day, I mean, these things you can't sell on PowerPoints. And you see later on how these projects will be implemented. We talk here about proof of concepts. We talk about pilots. And this is the only advice you can give to a retailer. Yes, it sounds like it's maybe too much sales pitch. Give us the opportunity, and we will run a trial. And there are different benefits for different people in the retailer. And if you look on the salespeople, the head of retail, the head of e-commerce, different names they have, CSOs, chief sales officers, head of sales. For them, very, very classic. I mean, these guys are measured. Their KPI is revenue and gross margin. So for the head of retail, everything is around on-shelf availability. If I have the right item at the right moment in time in front of the customer, I'm just selling more. It's very basic. For the head of e-commerce, it's a little bit more complex. He's running the website, he's running the web sales, but he needs to promise items availability. And not only the items in the distribution center, maybe also the items in the store, maybe the items in a wholesale, maybe the items in a franchise store. And here you see the need for accurate data, again, real-time item level, because he wants to keep his commitment to a consumer. I mean, promise a consumer something and then don't deliver, this is killing your brand. Then there is the director operations, the manager operations, COO. He's looking very much on process efficiency, and he is very often measured, his KPI is lowering the inventory. I mean, you can do e-fulfillment if you just put more inventory into the distribution center, or like still many fashion retailers running, they have a separate distribution center just for their web sales. But I mean, how bad is that? You're running 2 DCs. At the end of the day, at the end of a campaign of a season, you have 2 DCs filled with items that you then need to move to the factory outlet. But these are here are the silos. Remember those 2 slides before? There is an IT silo for the e-com, there is an IT silo called DC, there's an IT silo called CRM, an IT silo called POS, and. So this person, you can convince him on efficiency, process efficiency, lowering the inventory. Just to give you an idea, using RFID in the whole supply chain and in store is lowering the inventory around 12%. Take a, let's say, small fashion retailer with 80 stores. These companies running around 12 million items through the supply chain per year. Take 10% out of these 12 million is 1.2 million items. So put a dedicated price on it. Let's say the average purchase price of this item is 10 euros. So you see these numbers are huge. And these are, I just can give you an idea, these are the messages we can help you to put in front of these people in your customers. The CEO at the end of the day is just questioning how to increase bottom line. Gross margin is under fire in fashion retail because of all the competitors, because of the internet. So he has an increase, he has a big need on, I do not want to discount, I do not want to mark down, but you need to mark down if a store is sitting on too much material and the next material is already arriving. But he doesn't want to have markdowns because markdowns means you lose margin. How to convince the CIO, the IT guys? When these are the people, they think, wow, RFID, yes, that's the stuff, it's complex, it doesn't work, I remember it. Explain them how a pilot is, and we're coming to a pilot very, very soon now. And then, I mean, they're challenged by the whole business, by their colleagues, that somebody needs to bridge all these IT silos with real-time data. And this is, at the end of the day, what we can offer. So how would such a project be implemented? And it's around 7 phases, and the 8th phase is then after it's implemented, service and support, coming to that. Again, these projects starting with a pilot. And a pilot is not, and this is very important, a pilot is not to show that you can read with an RFID handheld an RFID tag on a t-shirt. If people want to see that, they should go to YouTube. The technology exists, it works. Don't run a pilot, don't spend time with people just want to see if RFID is working. I mean, nobody is trialing if Wi-Fi is working. So this is not driving any value. With a pilot installation, you are proving that KPIs are delivered. And one KPI can be the increase of sales in a store. One KPI can be the time saving because of an automated goods receipt. And we have examples later here. One KPI can be the increase of product availability because of a better replenishment from back store to front store. And we developed some models how to pilot these things. Just to be very clear, a pilot means efforts. That means the retailer needs to invest time. He may bring his IT people, his business people. You need to go with them through a store. You may want to visit a DC. And then you say, okay, we put a reader here. We put the tags in that way. We do these and these applications. We install these and these software. What I want to say, a pilot is never for free. If a customer is thinking a pilot belongs to the sales process and it should be for free, it doesn't work. We don't do that, and I think you can't spend 20 man days of your teams into your clients. You don't want to give that for free. If there's a real business driver behind, I think people are happy to invest into a trial. This is part of the sales cycle. After you have done the business case, so we are proving that really the KPIs are there and there is a return of invest, and you see that later on. Then people, and we see that then immediately asking, okay, how much would it cost to do a complete rollout? And that is when you're entering to the blueprint phase. Blueprint phase is what you typically do is here, you check all applications in the store. How do you do goods received? How do you do a checkout? How do you do a cycle count? How much is standard in the DTEGO software? And we have around 90% standard in the software that you know, okay, I can use these and these and these and these processes from their standard application, tick the box, done. And 10% I need to customize here. Here I need to write a piece of code because a very special application doesn't exist. You configure the system, languages, and then you put the infrastructure in place. That is all the readers, antennas, handhelds, and the stuff. And then step 5 is the system integration. System integration is necessary. We are integrating these type of software into the ERP system. And you will say, why do you do that? Very easy, because our system need to understand the structure of article numbers. When we are reading an RFID tag, so we read an EPC, electronic product code, we know, okay, this EPC, the first part is the article number, the next thing is the color, then is the style, then is the size. We need to understand this, and when marketing is launching a new campaign, they're launching new article numbers, and we need to know these article numbers, and they are launched in the ERP. So we are always integrated into the ERP. We have standard interfaces built for SAP. We have standard interfaces built for Microsoft Dynamics, or what in the past was called Navision, and for other legacy systems. And the step 5, the integration, is meaning really we are integrating and we are testing, is a process working? So when I'm reading these boxes, is the goods received confirmed for that store really in the ERP system, and do we get a feedback from the ERP system? So it's a process-to-process integration, what we are testing here. It sounds complex and it sounds expensive, I know. I just want to tell you that we need to explain your customer how a project is working. And it's just professional that you explain to the customer this is more than sending a piece of software and you install it and the next day you're working with it. No. But I do not want to say it's complex. And we have done this several times. At the end of the day, when the tests are done, you're just copying store by store. It's just then the deployment. And at the moment, just to give an example, DTEGO is rolling out a big fashion retailer at the moment, and we are deploying at the moment in this retailer 20 stores every week. Every week. We started this in March, At the end of this year, we are live in this retailer, I'm sorry I can't disclose the name, in 490 stores. We're just adding 20 stores per week. We are not physically in the store. Software is deployed remotely. Very important is step number 8, because once the system is live, we need to offer service and support because something is not working. Customers operating Saturdays, Sundays, DCs operating. And there is a global service and support model in different time zones and in different languages available, so don't worry. Just a note from my side, the fashion retail market is under fire in terms of investment. We're now offering, or not now, but since a while offering that the whole software is on a renting model. Now even the hardware is on a renting model, so you can offer to customers a fixed price per store per month. And later on you see something on ideas how much cost is that. Our idea is, and it's proved with customers that it's working, that for a very low monthly cost the retailer get all these huge benefits. So let's look into the offering, and we're putting the proposals, we're putting the product into different streams. One thing is the inventory visibility, the next stream is the whole analytic, and then the third stream, so different product, is around how to engage with clients. And we have 4 different products for that. So everything we talked about, like inventory visibility, is 2 products, very easy, in store. This is for the store, and in warehouse. If you want to analyze data, you're using our in-reports. Later on, if you engage with the client with a smartphone, you use our in-channels. And you can read that later on when you may download the recorded version. It's all around inventory visibility, so this is stock movements, the omni-channel applications. Here is around analytics, what is moving to fitting rooms, how many customers do I have in the store, how many of them picking the latest marketing campaign items, what are top sellers. We're even analyzing the availability in the DC and the required staff in the DC for the next morning because we know what shipments will arrive, and. So these is the offerings. Just to look on, does it really work now? A real life example is what our customers telling us. The administration work is disappearing, so the store staff has two times more time with the consumer. The visibility of items is 100%. Even if the item is not in the store, they can say to the consumer, "Dear Mr. Customer, I'm sorry I don't have it, but I have it in the store in Cologne, should I reserve it for you?" And with these things, we are increasing sales in fashion retail, depending which segment you are, 3 to 10%. Just to give you an idea, the whole market is only growing 1 to 1.2%. If somebody is growing 3, 4, 5, 6% as a fashion retailer, he's taking market share. And this in a very tough environment. We are increasing gross margin because we have lower inventory and we have less markdowns. Before we put markdowns, we know where this item, what is a slow mover in that channel, we move to another channel where it's sold. So we are helping to get lower markdowns. All these new fancy applications that consumers demanding, omni-channel, we drive very efficient. At the end of the day, you're increasing customer satisfaction. And brand loyalty in these days is extremely important. Live example, we have done a pilot in place in a fashion retailer that is running at the moment 400 stores in Europe. And we have done a pilot in a store, and we were tagging in the DC. Typically, a pilot is running 3 months. We analyzed a lot of data automatically. And what we have done for 1 week in this store, we configured our system that the replenishment from the back room to the front room, we spoke about that, is there is an alert sent if an item is not replenished after 30 minutes. So how is that working? Let's say a new marketing campaign is launched, items on the shelf, one dedicated item, that size, that color was just purchased, so it's leaving the store. So we are counting the time exactly on that item because we know same color, same size in the back room. So after 10 minutes we are alerting the store manager, and so in between 30 minutes in this trial for 1 week, each item was replenished maximum 30 minutes, each item. And remember in the beginning, normally they don't do that. What we have achieved here is just in 1 week we increased the sale for this just 28 items. In this segment of fashion that was representing volume of 2,500 euros. And this is 1 week. We talk about a week here. The monthly fee for the whole store, hardware and software, is below, and this is not €1 below, it's far below 1,000 euro. So what we see in our customers, honestly, this is a return of invest from day one. Just putting in this function, you replenish faster than before, so items are much more available on the shelf, you're increasing your sale, and the cost putting this solution in place is not even half what revenue are gaining more in 1 week. We have not put here our references. There are lots of references and live demos available. If you have customers who want to see it live, you can't travel or not investing into time now, that's fine. We can run web demos of the whole software. We're very happy. So please, if you have the need for that with a customer, just ask me. We're now getting to the end of this presentation. Then we still have some questions here in the chat. What are the takeaways here is, I think you have seen, and we're all consumers, we know this, the market is there and it's now. And the key in fashion retail is the store. It's not only the web shop, because 80% of the business is happening here. Very basic, and this was done years ago from people from GE. You can't manage what you don't measure. And if you're blind in the store, how you want to manage this, and 80% of the business is here. The technology is ready, and I know many of you, because you're in the industry, you're experts, know that the technology is ready, the prices are down, the market is now there. Omnichannel is the driver, and consumers demanding omnichannel, and this is the driving the necessity of real-time inventory analytics. Implementing this means cloud and very cost efficient. You just have seen one example. Some of this is for partners here. Some of you ask, how can we team up with DTEGO? Some of on the call I see you partnering with us, since a while. Different models. What we can offer is here, we have a lot of best practices. We are happy to share our experiences that we have done in fashion retail. We can help you to open new markets. If you say, yes, I have some interesting clients, but my current business model, I'm not reselling software, I do not have the resources. If you're opening doors, we're offering a model here. If you want to become an integration partner that you may have access to the dedicated geography, and you say, DTEGO, you can do the software, I do the integration, I do the hardware, I do the support, I speak the local language, very good, we are looking for these type of partners. Please call me. If you say we want to become a complete reseller, and we're offering training courses for technical people, training courses for salespeople, how to run a sales pitch. At the end of the day, you are winning, we are winning as well. And this is the whole aim of the partner. And we have some exclusivity in here. We don't go for customers where you are already engaged. So we do not put this here on slide. Please, if you need more information, just give me a hint. Now I'm opening this for question and answers, and there's already some questions in the chat. So again, if you have questions, just mention it. I've seen some questions are still around the tag pricing. How can it be 6 cents? Somebody's asking. Please, I've never said it's always 6 cents. This is really a volume game. What I want to say is the volume is driving the price. And if you have very special labels with plastic or very thick paper, price can be higher. If you may want to put it as a washing label into the garment, it's another price. What I wanted to say here is the performance of these tags has dramatically improved. The prices are dramatically down. So now is the time where fashion retailers should look into it. Another question in the chat is around the integration. How much days? I know that customers very quick ask the question, how much will it cost? Honestly, this is you can't answer this. Is that this is 1 day? This is 5 days? This is 10 days? It has very much to do with the infrastructure in your client, what backend systems, how good are they organized. What we are offering is we have dedicated business consultants in our team, and we are very happy to share these resources with our partners. If you have a dedicated fashion retailer who wants to understand more and may wants to have a roughly idea about the cost, the proposal, very fine. So just send us a question We come on site and for no charge we can give you a little bit a budget for that. Questions are around references, what references and which countries we are having. We have references in large customers, like the project I described we are just rolling out. It's a customer who has on a globally based around 3,000 stores. We have references in small clients, so the solution is available for retailers that may only have 15 to 20 stores, and we're implementing at the moment one retailer where we are going live in 900 stores. The solution is possible to be added to large systems like SAP, but we also can work with the IT department of a customer and do a bespoke integration into a self-developed system. I see there are some questions here. What else question? I think that's mainly was around tech pricing, and I see we are at the end of the webinar. Again, I thank you very much for participating. Maybe there are some questions open, maybe some questions you may want to speak in a face-to-face meeting. We're very happy to share this and very happy to help you and to support you here. You got our phone numbers, you got our email address, visit our website. The next webinar is on the 15th of September, but you will be invited. And please invite your customers. It's all around omnichannel. Thank you very much.